Okay, this one is about community spirit versus grandstand preaching. Of course, I think that it's very, very important to have a pastor in a church who's reading from the King James Bible, encouraging others to fueling their prayer lives, their Christian lives, even setting up things within the church that talented evangelists, up-and-coming pastors, those with the gifts of prophecy, healing, interpretation of tongues, gift of tongues, which all of us don't have, of course. You know, what pastor or what man of God or what apostle is actually setting up that type of church today, as directed by the Apostle Paul? Now, we've had wonderful ministers such as Charles Spurgeon. You know, the church was going through a very, very dry period, and Charles was able to basically bring in mass crowds from around London to actually hear the word of God. And of course, there were people in London that, of course, weren't Christians, that basically spent a bit of time trying to destroy his reputation, trying to basically defame him, do all kind of manner of evil. Even one time that they preached in a church, and some people actually started shouting fire, and before people were actually sat down, and there's several thousand people at that time, and then there was a panic, and I believe it was 6 or 7 people died in the stampede that occurred later, and Charles Spurgeon actually fainted. Many people thought he had died with the shock after what he'd seen, but that's the kind of spiritual war that was going on at that time. It must have increased the community spirit, of course, if there's Christians that there's a good pastor, so it fuels their spiritual walk, so therefore the community spirit would have been better. But what I see nowadays is that there are sort of mega ministries. I wouldn't call them mega churches, but there are very, very good preachers and pastors who are maybe over the radio, who are maybe in large churches, that people especially go and see from like all over, from like even every part of the world today. We have internet access, so it basically means that these people are relying on these big name preachers to actually feed them, and it causes a lethargy within their own Christian life, that they don't actually think or actually moved by these sermons to actually go out and try and reach people, or try and establish an evangelical ministry within their own area. And again, just reiterating about what this YouTube channel really is. It's reaching out on the internet, providing material, flyers, of course videos, which I've been involved with sharing in different churches and schools in the past. But obviously the totally Illuminati run schools won't have any of the Word of God within their walls, as they see it, their walls, which British society has not banned the Bible from schools, so they're actually going against the law. Of course they're going against God's will, and they know that, of course. But again, how am I meant to reach children in times such as these, or anyone for that matter? Evangelism, I know in America there's sort of, especially black Israelite groups, I won't call them Christian, that stand out on city streets with loudspeakers, doing sort of activism and stuff like that, which is really, seems to be quite racialist, and don't really seem to be preaching the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And they're concerned with lineages, which the Apostle Paul says, just forget about that, that's all witchcraft. Just concentrate on the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ, or Yeshua HaMashiach, which is his Hebrew name, or you can use his Aramaic name, which is Yeshua. Please be specific, and don't fear knowledge, don't fear different languages and translations or cultures. Just embrace them with the love and the good news of Yeshua, Jesus Christ. That's what I encourage you with today. And well, community spirit versus grandstand preaching. I would always have community spirit before I would have any grandstand preachers, because remember, the apostles weren't really grandstand preachers. They sort of went out and reached out into the communities, and then God used them to do miracles and help heal people and so on, and even teach people to follow God and fear him and keep his commandments. Thanks for listening, guys.